All right, good morning, everyone. So, our Thursday class. So, let's do the prayers first. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhuvaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Naha Prachodayat, Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहि तेजस्वी नावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. So we are studying in this class, Thursday's class, Avadhuta Gita. And it's not that well-known scripture because over here we see the experience, the anubhav of a great yogi. And majority of the people who try to walk in this path, the path of spirituality, they are not really very clear about it. What are they trying to do? What is expected of them? That's why there is a considerable amount of confusion about spirituality, or what exactly is a spirituality. So when we study something like this, it's not just merely studying and the reading and memorizing and understanding. We got to understand what this whole map is all about. Because spirituality is a complete science. And there's a comprehensive study of the intrinsic nature of the soul and its relationship to the external world and the universal consciousness. So this whole thing is spirituality. It's not just studying or reciting the mantras. Because when this science is not coupled with contemplation and meditation techniques, to have the actual experience, the anubhav of the higher reality, it's just a philosophy then. Or it's called just a metaphysics, because there's no experience, just only the theoretical knowledge. And when it is based on faith alone, and that faith also accompanied by superstition, dogmas, customs, cultural activities, it is just a religion then. Okay. And when it is accompanied by some practices, and intellectually those practices are very difficult to grasp, people just describe it as a mysticism. But only when this science is firmly resting on a philosophy of life, and it has the ethical and the moral values which are so indispensable for our well-being and health, only then it becomes a workable system. And workable system which takes us towards the self-transformation. So whatever we are studying in this great scripture, it's not just only the words. This is how we have to transform ourselves. Practically speaking, spirituality has two parts, and they both are very important. Theories and practices for removing obstacles to the inward journey, and the theory and practices that elucidate the inner core of reality, which will lead us towards that ultimate transformation step by step. So the goal of spirituality is a direct realization. It's not only reading about somebody else's realization, it's a direct realization of the true self and its relationship with the universal self. That is spirituality. And body and mind are the most efficient tools. So that's why this human body and a human mind, God has given it to us as tools to employ this for this self-realization, for achieving that goal. So keeping the body and mind in good health, creating a balance between the two, and finally directing all our resources towards spiritual unfoldment. So when we get up in the morning and do our yoga exercises, there's a purpose behind it. Because we know anytime we get sick, we are not moving towards our ultimate goal. There's a hindrance on our path. So that's the reason we do it. It's not when we get sick, then we do it. It's when we are healthy. We still keep on doing these practices. Because a spiritual practice that fails to eliminate the conditions of illness, procrastination, doubt, laziness, hopelessness, indulgence in sense pleasures, confusions, instability, and inability to concentrate, it is like a body without a breath. So these are all obstacles, hindrances. We got to be very alert about. Anytime this body says, I don't want to do it, becomes lazy, no. Tell your body, this is my duty. If mind is confused, if breathing is not proper, work on it. It's your apparatus. You should be in charge of it. Because otherwise our practice is lifeless. We are just only saying we are practicing, but it doesn't mean anything. So involving yourself in spiritual practices, because spiritual practices are very valid, they are very potent. But if we are disregarding the purification of the body and the mind, it's almost like a drinking pure water from a dirty cup, a grimy cup. Just keep that in mind. It's very, very important. So the first step in spiritual practice is to address the health of the body. A healthy mind can dwell only in a healthy body. And we all know a confused mind, because if it's not a healthy mind, it's a confused mind. Confused mind is not fit for any kind of a practice. And the next step is to work with the mind. So systematically, we need to work on it. We don't want to become lazy about it. So systematically working with the body, breath, and mind introduces you to various levels of yourself. And you will see that you can overcome the obstacles also. And when these obstacles have been overcome, you will definitely have more time. Because normally we are wasting time in these obstacles. When the obstacles have been removed, you'll have more time, more energy for your actual practice. And what is this actual practice? When you gain access to the vast potentials that lie dormant within your body. which is called Atma, who you are. Otherwise, we are asleep towards the reality. We are just fighting for something which is not even ours, which keeps on changing, and we want to have control over it. So we got to remember not just studying the scriptures, but definitely practicing this holistic approach to spirituality. Working with your body, practicing asanas, pranayam, mudras. You have learned a lot of mudras also. I hope you are still practicing them. I'm just waiting from you to ask that when you're going to teach the rest of them. So far, nobody has asked for it. So then I think you haven't even practiced. So what is the need for teaching you more? There's a storehouse of mudras and the bandhas and the pranayams. But you have to practice. It's not just learning theoretically alone. Those are very subtle yogic techniques for unlocking these forces and rechannelizing this pran shakti inside you towards the center of your being. Okay? So we got to do our part. The homework is needed. So that's why techniques of concentration, meditation, cleansings, pranayam, all of that help us to attain a direct experience of the pure self, which is the ultimate definition of spiritual enlightenment. We talked about that yesterday. Enlightenment. Okay. So let's, if anybody has a question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll start with verse number 31 of this Avadhuta Gita, because all he's talking about in these verses is trying to take our mind towards the Atma. But if there's a headache, knee ache, back ache, attention towards the world, we cannot experience this. So that's the reason I mentioned that we got to do other practices also. Okay, but because all he's talking about is what Atma is, because this he is writing or saying from his own experience. What Atma is and what it's not. Let's look at verse number 31. Niramayam, Nishpratimam, Nirakritam, Nirashrayam, Nirvapusham, Nirashisham, Nirdvandham, Nirmoham, Alupta Shaktikam, Tam Isham Atmanam Upati Shashwatam. Big words. Sometimes it's even hard to pronounce them. But this is what he's using. He says, Niramayam, indestructible. Nishpratimam, unparalleled. That means immeasurable. Nirakritam, no akriti, formless. Akriti means a form. So nirakriti. Nirashrayam, supportless. There's no support for it. Doesn't need any support. Nirashrayam, nirvapusham, free from body. Nirashisham, desireless. Asha, no desire. Nirdvandham, beyond the pairs of opposites. Nirmoham, free from attachment or the delusion. Alupta, undiminished. Shaktikam, that means power, powerhouse. Tam means that. Isham means Lord. Atmanam, the self. Upati, attains. Shashwatam, eternal. See how powerful this verse is? And this is one of the many verses where this great Rishi is trying to explain it to us who we are. He's not saying, I am that. He says, everything is that. He says the yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma, which is pure, unparalleled, formless, supportless, desireless, beyond the pairs of opposites, devoid of delusion and of undiminished power. So the science of spirituality should, if we are on this path, we should experience this, only then we are a yogi. This is our goal. But in order to reach the goal, we have to do our homework too. If we do our homework sometimes and other times no, we are not progressing. This is who we are, all of us. Vedo na diksha na cha, mundan kriya guru na shishya na cha yantra sampada, mudradikam na api na yatra bhasate, tam isham atmanam upati shashwatam. Ved, knowledge. No means no. Diksha, initiation. No means not, cha means and. Mundan, shaving head. Kriya, action. Guru. No means not. Shishya, disciple. Yantra, technique or like a magic. Sampada, perfection. Mudradikam, mudras, etc. Cha means and, api means even, no means not, yatra, in whom. Bhasate, to manifest, to exist. If I'm going too fast, let me know, because I know some of you are writing. Tam means darkness. Isham, Lord. Atmanam, the self. Upati, attains. Shashwatam, eternal. Okay, this last few words are repeated in all these verses, because he's trying to explain what this eternal supreme Atma is. So he says the yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma. So again, he is emphasizing that this is our goal. To realize, to know, to experience, to have this anubhava who we are. So yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma, which neither the Vedas, nor initiation, nor magic, nor guru, nor disciple, nor symbolic diagrams, nor mudras can manifest. So what is he trying to say? He's saying that all of these, they will help. But just by themselves, they don't. If somebody says, I got initiated from the greatest guru, that is not enough. You got to do your work. If you say, yes, I can do the postures, I can do the pranayam, those are techniques to keep the body healthy, because only in this human body will be able to experience this. Again, those are the means. And shaven head, what does it mean? Vairagya, detachment. Just becoming a vairagya is not enough. You are detaching so that you can attain this connection with him. So this is what he is telling. He is not putting any means down, but he is making us think about it, that if you are stuck, that, oh, I got initiated, or I have a guru, or I know some asanas, or I do pranayams, sure, they are good. Keep on doing them, because if you don't do them, you will definitely fall. But again, those are the means to attain that goal. And goal, he says, the yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma. That means we have to have the experience of that, who we are, which is eternal, shashwat, which is a powerhouse which gives the power to everything. Without the Atma, we can't even function. This body is a dead body without the Atma. So this is what he is telling us. Now, in the next verse, he says, Na Shambhavam Shaktim Manavam Na Vapindam Cha Rupam Cha Pad Adikam Na Va Arambha Nishpati Ghat Adikam Cha Na Tam Isham Atmanam Upati Shashvatam. Shambhavam means, see, Shambhu is Lord Shiva. So originating from Shiva, Shambhavam. Shaktim, magical powers, the Shakti. Manavam, human being. Nava, not, and Pindam, lump of flesh. Cha means and, Rupam, form. Cha means and, Pad means foot. Adikam, etc. Na means not, Va means or, Arambha, beginning. Nishpati, ending. Ghat means jar, Adikam, etc. Cha means and, Na means no. Tam, that. Isham, Lord. Atmanam, the self. Again, Upati means attains, and Shashvatam means eternal. Shashvat. The yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma, which has originated from neither Shiv nor Shakti. Nor original human being, which is called Manu also. Okay, so Manavam could be Manu too, like a primordial human being. So the yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma, which has originated from neither Shiv nor Shakti nor Manu. It is not a lump of flesh, nor has it a form, nor limbs such as feet or hands. It is not an entity like a jar, which can be designed and finished, which can be created and finished. So Atma was never created, and Atma can never end. Atma does not have parts. Because Atma is a part of Paramatma. See, Shiva, Shakti, or Manu, what he's talking about, they are just powers of that Paramatma. Okay, so that's in that sense, he says, originated from neither of these things. And people just keep on fighting over it. See, this is like he is taking our mind towards that ultimate reality. And he says, you are that Atma. You are that eternal supreme. And this is what we need to experience. Then in next one, he says, Yasya swarupat sachar acharam jagat utpadyate tishtati liyate api vapeyaha vikarat iv fein budbudas tam isham atmanam upati shashvatam. Yasya, of whom? Swarupat. That means like a true nature. Swarup, essence. Such are movable, acharam, immovable. Jagat is the world. Utpadyate is born, has emerged. Tishtati abides. Liyate absorbed. dissolves. Api means also, va means or, paya. Paya means water. So we normally use the word paya padarth, right? Something drinking. So paya means water. Vikarat, transformation or due to transformation. Vikarat. Iv means as, fein means a foam. Bud budas, bubbles. Tam means that, Isham Lord, Atmanam the self, Upati attains, Shashwatam eternal. The yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma. Again and again, he is giving us that ultimate goal to be achieved. That's why he's just repeating it again and again to us. Yogi, if we call ourselves a yogi, or if we think that we are yoga abhyasis, keep this in your mind. We need to attain that eternal supreme Atma, from the essence of which both the moving and the unmoving worlds emanate. So where did all this come from? Whether they're mountains or the birds or the animals or human beings or even the water, where did all this come from? He says from the Atma. So from the essence of which both the moving and the unmoving worlds emanate, in which they rest, and again into which they dissolve. That's why it's called that Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Creator is Brahma, which is nothing but God. Sustainer is Vishnu, which is nothing but God. And is Shiva, the destroyer. Anything which is created, ultimately it has to dissolve. So in that sense, he says, in which they rest. No matter how strong a building is, how big a building is, or even a mountain, or even any planet, ultimately they do get created, then they rest, then again into which they dissolve. As foam and bubbles arise from the modifications of water. So he's giving us this example which has been used by many philosophers, that bubbles and the froth and the waves, they're all nothing but the water. They come from the water and ultimately they dissolve into the water. And they exist also because of the water. If water element is not there, they're not there. Their existence is because of the water. So he says, as foam and bubbles arise from the modifications of water, vikar, and then again subside in it. See, when we study something like this should really give us clarity as well as a peace also. What are we worried about? We are always worried about the changes, and changes are part of this nature. In essence, we are all eternal. And we waste our precious time and a precious human life either to control or to worry. Who will call us smart? Who will call us yoga abhyasi then? Anybody who worries stressful is not a yoga abhyasi. Remember that. Just get rid of that stress, because with that agitation, with that cloudiness, you cannot practice this. So if you want to practice it and attain this, you got to get rid of all these smaller agitations. See, just like when we started our basic schooling, we had to make sure at night that, hey, my clothes are ready or not for the morning. My school bag is ready or not. Did I do homework or not? Or my papers are with me or not? Did I study? Those were just basic things we did. And anybody who did that became a good student. So this is a very basic things we need to do for our journey. Okay. Then he says in number 35, nasaha nirodha na cha drishtir asanam bodha api abodha api na yatra bhasate nadi pracharaha api na yatra kinchit tam isham atmanam upati shashvatam. Nasa, the nose. Nirodha. Nirodh means control. It's like a breath control over here. Nurture, not, and drishtir, gaze, vision. Asanam, positions, postures. Bodha, knowledge. Api means even, abodha, ignorance. Again, api means even, na means not, yatra, where. Bhasate, manifests or appears. Bhaste. Nadi, those nerve channels, the nadis. Pracharaha, motion, like a movement in those nadis. Api means even, na means not, yatra, when, kinchit. Kinchit means even slightly, little bit, kinchit. Tam means that, isham, Lord, atmanam, the self, upati, attains, shashvatam, eternal. Again, this great yogi, just look at the repetition of this great teacher. Keep on repeating for us. He doesn't have to, but he keeps on doing it. Because yogis, they have compassion for us. They know we'll forget. That's the reason they are repeating. The yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma, which is beyond knowledge and ignorance. Because ignorance and knowledge, these are just dualities. It's beyond this. And which is not manifested by any such disciplines as controlling the breath, fixing the gaze, practicing postures, or exercising the movement of the nerve currents in the nadis. Okay, there is a network of nadis in our body, countless. Okay, main nadis are Ida, Pingla, Sushumna, but then there are nadis everywhere in our body. So what he is saying, that attaining or experiencing our real nature is beyond any of it. If somebody says, no, I have really experienced the movement of my pran in my body, that is only a preliminary. Or if somebody says, I can sit in the posture longer than you, better than you, that is not knowing the Atma. So again, all of this is needed to attain that eternal self. Okay, so the reason he's just bringing it up for us, because he says, do not to stop until you attain that oneness. Do not be satisfied that I have done my yoga, my meditation for 2-3 hours a day or studied. No, all of this is preliminary to attain that selfhood. Okay. Nanatvam, ekatvam, ubhatvam, anyata, anutvam, dirghatvam, mahatva, shunyata, manutvam, meyatvam, samatvam, varjitam, tam isham atmanam upati shashvatam. Nanatvam means variety. Okay, when there are multiple things, that's called nanatvam. Ektvam means one. So Nana is many, Ek means one. Ubhutvam. That means both. Ubhe means two. So over here, this means duality and non-duality. Both. Anyata, otherness. Anutvam, minuteness. Anu means small. Minuteness. Dirghatvam means length. Mahatva, largeness. Shunyata, emptiness. Mantvam, measurement. Meyatvam, dimension. Samatvam, sameness or evenness. Samatva. And I'm sure these are all the very common words actually. You're familiar with those. Varchitvam, devoid. Tam means that, Isham means Lord, Atmanam, the self. Upayati, attains, Shashvatam, eternal. Okay? It's good to know this language. Because no matter how beautifully you translate all this into English, the main beauty is in Sanskrit, in its original. Because that Rishi wrote it in that. Okay, we should make an effort to understand. My Guruji used to say that go into the heart of the Rishi. And we can go into the heart of the Rishi only when we can understand the language Rishi has written in. So that's the only reason I tell you word by word over here. It's not that we are becoming a Sanskrit scholars, but we got to know this language a little bit so that we can try to connect with the Rishi at some level. Maybe not to the heart, maybe at his feet. Okay, the yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma, which is neither many nor one, nor both nor another. It is free from minuteness, largeness, vastness, and emptiness. See, all these terms can describe only something which is manifested. Atma cannot be manifested. Okay? It is devoid of measurement, dimension, and sameness. Okay? So really, lot of effort this great teacher is making so that we can understand little bit and have little this kind of a desire that, yeah, if I am that, I want to know that. Somebody tells you there's a great place over there, we make all our effort to go there. For a physical place, we plan, we save, we make the trip, whether to meet somebody or whether to see that place, just a physical thing. And over here, this Rishi is telling us, this is who you are. And if we don't make any effort, we don't have to go anywhere, we don't have to spend anything. All we have to do is just practice wherever we are. And still we don't do it. This is what he's trying to tell us. Don't waste another human life. We have wasted many lives. The reason we are here in this human body, because last time around we failed. We enrolled, but we failed. So this time we got to make a little promise to ourselves. I'm not going to fail this time, my Guru. With your blessings, I will definitely keep on working towards this goal. This is the only goal we have actually. Let's do one more and then we'll stop. सुसंयमी व यदि व न संयमी, सुसंग्रही व यदि व न संग्रही, निष्कर्मक व यदि व संकर्मक, तम ईशम आत्मनम उपैति शाश्वतम. Susanyami, perfect self-control. See, sanyam means control, self-control. Susanyam, su means a perfect, the best. Su. Va means or, yadi means if. Again, va is or, na means not. Sanyami, perfect control. Susangrihi, withdraws the senses. So it's almost like a pratyahar, withdrawing the senses inward. Senses love to go outward, bringing them inward. Va means or, yadi means if, na means not, sangrihi, possessing. Nishkarmak, free from action, beyond activity. Nishkaram. We are all familiar with this term. And nishkam is also another way to say it. Va means or, yadi means if, sakarmak, with the fruit of action. See, nishkaram, free from, and sakarm, with fruit of action. Tam means that, Isham Lord, Atmanam the self, Upati attains, Shashwatam eternal. Okay, so last few words again. I think he's going to repeat those until the end of this. No, I think only the next verse. After that, he stops using this because there are 40 verses in this chapter. So the yogi attains that eternal supreme Atma, whether he is a self-restrained ascetic or not, whether he possesses much wealth or not, whether he is active or inactive. See, there are some people who practice the very strict spiritual disciplines because they see that there's a distraction from outside. Okay, so initially a person needs to do that kind of a tapasya because these senses, they like to go outwardly. So it's good to do that kind of a tapasya. Those are the vrats. Whether it's eating or speaking or going somewhere, not going somewhere, restraining yourself is just like those horses are restrained with those little ropes, reins, which are called. The same way we need to control our horses. Our horses are these senses. But what happens is, with the help of the practice, the initial practice, you just are self-controlled by yourself. You don't have to make any effort. So that means a person's mind is automatically absorbed into the self, has found that ultimate bliss. But initially we need to do it. So what he's trying to tell us over here in this verse is that whether a person is doing the self-restraint or not, that means he doesn't need to do it anymore. Whether it seems like he is possessing the wealth or not, it doesn't matter to him. Or whether he is doing a nishkam karam or not, it doesn't matter to a person after he has achieved that. Because ultimate goal is what we have to keep in mind. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. If anybody has a question on any one of these verses or anything else, let's just spend a few minutes. Then we'll definitely do the meditation towards the end. Okay.
Sujata has a question. Sujata?
Yes, Sujata.
Namaste, Hershji. Just a quick question on the text over here on 33. In the text, he says tantric texts speak of three kinds of initiation. The Shambhavi initiation, Shakti initiation, and what you call Anuvi initiation. And is that in any way something we need to be aware of?
Yeah, no, you don't need to be aware of it. All you have to remember is that we are not just that one alone. See, like Shiva Shakti is what? Is the destruction, right? Ultimately, elimination of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these are just powers of God, and we are part of that whole, not just one little slice. Okay, so sure, initially maybe somebody has gotten into that kind of initiation, but we got to expand our horizon from there. Because otherwise what happens is people just start arguing and fighting with each other. I am a Shaivite, I'm a Vishwanite. No, God is one. So this Guru is telling us that we got to attain that eternal supremehood, because that's what we are. Okay. Otherwise, the worshipper of Krishna, they say we are better than the worshipper of Ram. Or some people I see that they say, no, a small form of Bal Gopal is better than the Dwarkadhish. Right? So we don't want to have those kind of arguments. We got to just keep, Yogi keeps this higher image in mind that I am part of God. With it doesn't have any form. Okay, so
Thank you.
that's how I read.
Rita?
Harshi, I just have a comment. It's not a question. Like you said, you should know basic Sanskrit in order to understand really. So now that doesn't mean that you have to start a new class for Sanskrit so we can understand.
Well, if there is an interest, I can always start a class. I don't have a problem with that, but you got to have some interest in some people. So if we have about 10 people, I'll definitely start a class.
Okay, I will be interested in that.
Okay, well, I just send the message to Jyoti. Once we have enough interest, so we can always have it. Yeah, that's
So
not a problem.
maybe one of these days, when the Bhagavad finishes, or one of these.
That will be 2 more years, Rita.
Huh? 2 years?
2 more years.
Okay.
Maybe she can practice till then.
Bhagavad Puran is a.
How
So-
about
we are barely half done with that in a year and a
Well,
half.
Let's wait till 10 people show up. When 10 people show
Yes.
up, we'll worry about what day.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
a good desire, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is it
Yeah.
difficult?
Pramila has a question. Pramila?
Is it difficult to learn Sanskrit?
No, Sanskrit is the mother of all the languages. How can a mother be difficult? It's not difficult. To
At
me,
this stage,
when we do anything with love, it becomes easy. Okay, but if we just tell our mind that no, it's so difficult, then sure, anything can be difficult. Even to make a cup of tea could be difficult, right? So yeah, eagerness to learn, and we are not learning to become a scholar or to compete with anybody or to get a certificate, because I don't issue any certificates. But basic Sanskrit, yeah, if we know it, even through these, you are learning lot of vocabulary. Just word by word, when you study something, you are learning a lot. Okay, but some grammar I'll teach you, yeah, in that class. Or maybe I'll have some other great teacher to teach you. So there was a person who used to come to the classes, and he knew a lot more than I do. So maybe he can teach you guys. So we'll see. But first, let's see if there's interest.
If we get 10 people, so if you have anybody,
Yeah.
just
But
send me the
committed
name.
10 people,
Yeah.
not just if nothing else is going on, then we'll come to the class.
Most of the words we recognize.
Yeah, but you need to know the not
connection.
the words alone, but you need to know the grammar also.
Right.
Know
right.
the language, grammar is
Yes.
essential.
No, I agree. It's
Yeah.
it's all the details. The devil is in the
Yeah,
details.
you need to know that. So we'll see. Let's see that. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Any question? Otherwise, I'll put.
Samita?
Yes,
I think
yes.
Samita
yes.
has a question.
Okay. All right, Samita.
Oh, okay. First of all, I want to let you know that Karuna is sick today she has been bitten by some insect yesterday evening in her garden, and
Oh, okay.
on her right side of the face has been swollen,
Oh, okay.
and she's having a pain also in her throat. So she is going to have appointment, video appointment with the doctor.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
please,
I'll call her. I'll
I mean, at least Ashirwad, everybody's Ashirwad for her to get better.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know so that we can pray for her. Yes. Thank you.
Secondly, I don't know whether I'm repeating this or not, or whether
So any Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate Om Shanti 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 Om. So I would like